Well, happy Friday, my peeps. Happy Friday to each and every one out there. Speaker settings from overall settings. Podcast that differs. Boy, I'm gonna tell her that area is start out rough with the icon them, you know? Start out very rough with the icon them. You know, from Uri to Van Sterling to Bonnie Wheeler and Prince Marky D of the Fat Boys. And then now most recently the legendary DMX after a week, of being in a vegetative state, he's ultimately lost his battle to from a drug overdose. Uh, um, a lot of people like myself, in our mid 40s and upward to 50-year-old can relate to losing such an iconic figure who was definitely instrumental in a lot of our upbringing. Rest in peace to DMX. Yeah, man, it stay away, man. I'm not lie to you. Definitely stay away. Um, the body of the Clarendon teacher has been found. Um, suspects have been apprehended. One was actually killed. It was confirmed that, Jeff Bedward, St. Catherine District, also of Sandy Bay, where the teacher body was located. It was confirmed that he was at the scene when all of this transpired with the teacher. Rest in peace to Miss Natalie Dawkins. And then the violence against women spans across the waters. As I'm hearing about a lady in Connecticut who actually was a victim of a murder at the hands of her own son. I believe that was in Stamford, Connecticut. And then over in New Jersey, there was a restaurant owner who turned the gun on his, if I'm not mistaken, the news was reporting it as being his wife. So that would make the other young lady that was killed his sister-in-law. And then he ultimately turned the gun on himself. They were owners of a restaurant up in Jersey. Proprietor of a business place. The lady and her sister were actually found in the restaurant. And the gentleman was found behind a rental car place, not far away from the scene. He was actually the one that was found first, and then upon them trying to contact his next of kin, where they then informed that the next of kin was also missing. So when they went to the restaurant, they stumbled upon a very grim discovery of the man's wife and his sister-in-law who had been victims of gun violence. I tell you, man, it just crazy out there. There was a young lady who was reported missing from in the Philadelphia area, last seen in the company of her child's father. She was about 4 weeks pregnant, if I'm not mistaken. They were located in Derby at a laundromat. He came to the scene, picked her up. The mother received a call from the boyfriend basically stating that there was some type of argument between them, and she abruptly left the car. Shortly after, the car was found a couple miles away from where they were last seen, set ablaze and crashed into a pole. A week later, the body of that young lady was found in a wooded area in West Philadelphia. Rest in peace to the deceased. There was also a lady, if I'm not mistaken, in Burnt Savannah, down in St. Elizabeth. Her family was looking for her, hadn't heard from her. When they arrived at the residence to do a wellness check, one of her children found her in a pool of blood. You know, would appear to be stab wounds all over her body. She was pronounced dead at the scene, and to my knowledge, police are still looking for that those assailants. They gained access to her building by putting a bucket or something by the window and crawling through the window. So once again, like I said, violence against women continues all about. When you come back, there was a young lady in her early 30s whose body was found under a gazebo in the Fairmount Park section of Philadelphia with several gunshot wounds to her body as well. So the cycle continues. It's very sad. It's been stated that the gun that Tommy Lee was initially charged and sentenced to 3 years for was allegedly involved in 2 high-profile killings that came out early this week. When I say high-profile, very high-profile killings, that being of Roy Fowle and Wani British of the very popular British link-up. Now, for the life of me, there's been much said about Tommy Lee, in and outside of the dancehall circuit in regards to his affiliation with the Sparta gang in the parish of St. James, Montego Bay area to be exact, flankers if I'm not mistaken. And I just find it very hard to believe that Tommy Lee was actually charged, sentenced, and then now that gun is being tied to 2 high-profile murders, and he actually had that kind of smelly fishy to me, I'm not lie. And if you can recall, a couple of weeks prior to that, the person who they said was responsible for the death of Rifle was actually killed upon being bailed out from a station in St. Ann, Steertown to be exact. So if he was the one responsible for Rifle's death, how did he receive bail? And the part I don't really understand. And he literally was killed as soon as he exited the police station. So that would have had to have been in the immediate vicinity of the police station itself. Crazy. You know, me can't really fathom that for the life of me. You know, something smell fishy there so. Cause if the same gun that Tommy Lee had was tied to these high profile murder cases, and the person who actually killed Rifle was killed in an incident unrelated to Tommy Lee's situation, then that would mean that he would have some affiliation with the gun that Tommy Lee supposedly or allegedly had in his waistband. Just it sting, it very messy. You know, I mean, like I said, he pled guilty to having that gun in his waistband. So, you know, maybe that was the guys for them. They probably knew what they knew all along if that was the case, and played chess and basically allowed him to plead guilty for possession of that gun when they already had ballistics done on that gun. But I kind of find it hard to believe, because if you lock me up for a gun and you sentence me to 3 years, you're not going to tell me after you sentence me to 3 years that basically this gun was used in a high profile murder that I am now on the hook for, especially when you had somebody in custody who is now dead that you actually were charging for that particular murder. It's just super messy. You know? Super messy. Once again, we've lost another iconic figure from the music world who transcends, you know, racial and cultural boundaries. You know, DMX was a part of that whole New York scene and the hip hop scene, you know, which hip hop is a direct derivement from reggae music, Jamaica, you know, Cool Herc and Uri and people of that nature. DMX was also affiliated with Louis Ranks, aka Axe, aka Teddy Brookshot, you know, from the movie Belly. You know, he had close ties to the Jamaican community. You know, he also did a hit song with Vegas and Sean Paul that was actually in the Belly movie. So rest in peace to DMX. You know, for those of us who can relate and who are feeling that major loss right now within the community. This week, it's all about the man, Star Social, you know, coming to the platform to tell the story, up and coming dancehall artist who is actually doing really well in Africa and, you know, trying to make his name all about, obviously, you know, brought to us by DJ Phil, one of our affiliates down on the ground in Jamaica. And then after Star Social now, we have bam, 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 the man named Mr. Chumps, by way of Montego Bay, brought to us by another one of our affiliates on the ground in Jamaica, CD Banging. And then we skip over to Sunday now. The legendary singer Chuck Turner comes to dispute claims up from a lot of dancehall fans and selectors alike who I have personally heard state that Chuck Turner was no longer among us. And then we end the weekend with an upcoming talent by the name of Device, brought to us by one of our affiliates on the ground in Jamaica, Nessa B. Nessa B brought us the likes of Beetle Bailey and also Pinky Famous, aka Tishana. So, I don't think that Device is going to be any less of an attraction when he comes to the platform. So you guys log on. Thank you for your continued support. Overall Settings, a podcast that differs. We always try to bring you the latest and current events from in and around the Caribbean, and whatever is going on outside of that. And we're definitely the podcast that differs, and we try to stand on and create our own lane. A special honorary mention to Scully Garage, big up Marlon, big up all of my Settings family, big up all of the Settings supporters, big up Andrew's statement, big up Sean's statement, and the Rudolph Pendergrass Foundation Incorporated, big up Big Stone, one of our affiliates on the ground in Jamaica, a humanitarian. Big up all of the artists, past and present and future, who are forwarding to the platform. Have a blessed weekend, and make sure to log on and subscribe if you have not done so already, please. And thanks. Your support is appreciated. Pico Settings signing off.